In today's video, it's all about general maintenance on your Sinis Terrain 125. Obviously this covers other motorcycles and scooters in the range as well. We're going to cover the chain in this video and show you how you should be checking them every day before you ride. So in the first part of the video, I'm going to talk about chain, which is obviously the most essential part of the drive on your bike. If the chain is too loose, it puts excessive wear on your sprockets, front and rear, which can cause damage. If the chain is too tight, it can snap and cause damage to a lot of parts of the bikes, not to mention the bike's running. So for the first part, I'm going to talk about how to clean your chain with chain cleaner, and then how to wax it so that it doesn't pick up contaminants. I'm going to talk about how to clean it with a small wire brush. So if you've got something similar to that, that's perfect for cleaning. And the other tools you'll need are, for the Terrain in particular, an 18mm spanner, 22mm spanner. Ring spanners are better. If you've got a torque wrench is fantastic for the job. And you will need two 12mm spanners for the adjusters for the chain. Personally, I use WD-40. There's a lot of other products out there, but WD-40, not just the oil, but now do many other things like wax, lubricants, various motorcycle products. There is a lot of other products out there. You might find cheaper. I find these fantastic. I use them on all of my bikes and everything. So yeah, that's what I use. These are available through Sinis Motorcycles parts department as well. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the chain. Keeping a clean and very sort of waxed, lubricated chain is extremely important to the longevity of the chain and the sprockets. So you need a little wire brush like this. You need some brake cleaner or some chain cleaner, and you need some chain wax. The idea being that you spray a little onto the chain, and then you can just rub away at it to clean off the muck. It's not essential that this is done all the time. It's, you know, if you do a lot of motorway miles, say every couple of 100 miles, it's worth cleaning the chain. It's worth cleaning the chain if you've been through a lot of water, because it can get some rust in it. So you clean it off. Once you sort of move the bike forward to get to the rest of the chain, what you need to do is wax the chain so it's weather resistant. Now, what we always suggest here is if you've got some workshop rag, you need to protect the wheel, so when you're spraying it onto the chain, it doesn't get onto the tyre, because it is very slippery stuff. So once you've got your chain wax, quick shake, and you give that an even spray, move the bike forward, spray it again, get it all over the chain, and then it's weather resistant for a long period of time. Okay, so the other thing you're checking when you're working on tightening the chain is the condition of this sprocket, which is vital. What you're looking for is good peaks on the sprocket and no damage where they're too rounded off. If these are too rounded off, your chain will skip off easier. So you need to make sure that the sprocket is in good condition. If in doubt at all in this situation, always consult a dealer or motorcycle specialist. A chain and sprocket kit, generally 25, 30 pounds, maybe 40 pounds, but it's a lifesaver and it will make your bike go on for a hell of a lot longer. The thing we need is an 18mm and a 21mm ring spanner is ideal, or you can use a socket on one side or socket on both sides. The 18mm fits on this side and the 21 on the other side. Now on this side there is two nuts. There's a locking nut on the top and there is another nut underneath, which we'll show in a clip in a second. You undo the locking nut on top first and wind it out. The nut underneath is still a 21 as well, and we undo that, so it's loose. So now the bolt running through the centre of the wheel is now loosened off. So all that remains is to take a 13mm and undo on both sides the second nut here. So we undo this, move it out of the way. Undo the same on the other side with the 13, move it out of the way. Now this is the key part. To move, say for instance the chain is loose, this isn't that badly loose, but for argument's sake this chain is loose. What we need to do is wind the wheel backwards. So to wind the wheel back, we take the 13mm, do it quarter of a turn at a time. We put quarter of a turn on here, quarter of a turn on here, then a quarter of a turn on here, quarter of a turn on here. Then we check the chain tension, see if it's any tighter. Still go more, so another quarter of a turn, another quarter of a turn. Check the chain again, see it's much tighter now. Once we've got it to the right tension, Then we can wind this locking nut in, just finger tight for the moment, and the same on this side. Then we take the 21 and the 18mm spanner, 18 again on here, 21 on here, and we lock the wheel up, the spindle up tight. Once the spindle's tight, we lock the second locking nut on the side with the 21 to keep it all in place, and then we lock up our locking nut here with a 13mm. And then we've got a tighter chain. As a matter of course, I never on any motorcycle in my life have trusted these lines on here. A lot of people do, fair enough. If you think that you've slipped or you've put more tension on one side than you have on the other, what you can do is run a rule, a steel rule or a measure from here to the centre of here. There will always be a little notch on the top. From here to the centre of here. For argument's sake, if that's 65mm, then you know that the other side has to also be 65mm to keep your wheels straight. And that is essentially how to tighten or loosen your chain.